Welcome to Backyard Bows.
Hey, welcome to Backyard Bows. I'm Brandon, and today we got another Amazon bow up here. So if you look on Amazon or online, you realize that it's very limited on what you can purchase online. Everybody knows you kind of have to go to a bow shop, and you can't buy directly from a lot of the major bow brands. So I kept thinking, man, eventually something is gonna have to get put online, because the more and more I've done this, the more I've realized and interacted with you guys, is that not everybody has a bow shop really close to them or access to one at all, especially in different countries, but are still interested in getting bows. So I think the obvious answer is to get online and have one shipped to you. Well, there's not a ton of options. And a lot of the brands that we see here in America, you know, there's a couple Bear archery bows, there's a couple diamond bows, I think there's a PSE Brute, and then a lot of other manufacturers. We did the Trigon, which we already reviewed. There's a Sanlito bow that's nice. And then I think because I'll get a couple of them in, and kind of mess around with them and see which of these is the best quality bow, and not just for a youth, because if you look on there, it seems that a lot of them are made for kind of a youth style hunter. I wanted to find one that could go, you know, that could either be a youth bow or an adult bow, used for hunting practice, just an all-around good quality bow that has a nice range of hunters. And what I found is this Tidewe. It will look on their website. If you go on their website, they sell tons of other stuff. And we'll kind of go over some of those things here in a little bit. But it looks like it's an American-made company out of Wisconsin is kind of the pitch online. But it's actually a Chinese company, which, you know, it's like obvious to me that some of these other countries are saying, hey, let's just put out some good bows online, because, man, there's such a market. Nowadays, I mean, the internet is everything. So it still kind of blows my mind that you can't buy direct from companies, that you have to go into a bow shop. And I think there's obvious reasons for that. You know, they're trying to kind of protect that small bow shop owner. You know, I think a part of it. And then the other part of it is, you know, you got the 5 major brands that dominate that bow shop market. So, you know, what you saw with APA, they said, hey, we can't get our bows, we can't get the contracts to get into the bow shop, so we're just gonna sell directly to the consumer. And that was the first company that done it. I think Athens does it. And I think more and more and more we'll see if Matthews, Hoyt, PSE, Bowtech, Bear are the ones that are getting the bow shop contracts. Some of these other companies that are producing really good quality bows are just gonna eventually, I'm assuming, transition into buying direct or buying online, which I promise you, I think we'll see that. The internet will prevail. You know, the internet is going to, you know, eventually we'll see more and more of that. But I think this bow, the Instinct R2 from Tidewe, is a all-around great bow for the price. You can buy online. It comes with a package deal, which we'll go over in just a second. But I think this is going to be one of the best Amazon purchases that you can find today. Let's go over what comes in the box. So in the box, you open it up. It's kind of a nice little packaging. It has everything set up for you. I am going to tell you what out of the box I'm going to use and what I'm going to use on my own. So let's start with the sight. I think the sight is a good, nice little package deal sight. You got the screws, which really the only thing that I look for is that the screws that let you adjust horizontally and vertically are going into metal, so metal on metal. Otherwise, you usually strip them, those come apart, and eventually you're just gonna end up buying another sight. But this is something where both screws go into metal. You got the plastic sight housing, but if you're careful with it, I'm sure it's okay. We're actually gonna use that one on the Freestyle shoot today. Then you have the rest. I hate these rests. They're just not my favorite. If you shoot a whole bunch through them, those bristles will wash away. We're gonna use, so it's still set up like a budget style bow that you would buy online. We're gonna use a Whisker Biscuit, but we're gonna use that Trophy Ridge that I like. It seems to hold up a little bit better. The stabilizer is fine. This is kind of reminds me of some of those old stabilizers that we just saw back in the day, just solid rubber, you know, to help vibration and noise dampening. Has a little wrist sling. It comes with a set of Allen wrenches. It also comes with a little stand. And then you got your arrows. So the arrows, which we will shoot a little bit, and we'll shoot them on the speed test. They're about 560 grains all set up. But they are kind of a spaghetti noodle, which is kind of consistently what we see with these package deals when we buy these, you know, buy online, especially from Amazon, is you get these, you know, you get these arrows and they are, I mean, they're a spaghetti noodle. So they have the grainage, but they seem to have zero spine. And if you just even, you know, go to this full metal jacket with a 400 spine, I mean, you can see the difference in the flex. So we'll shoot it through the speed test. We'll even shoot a couple outside, but I'm gonna end up using my full metal jackets from Easton. The specs on this I do like too for a nice compact bow. So you got 30 inches axle to axle, a 6.6 inch brace height. The draw length goes from 11 inches out to 30 inches, so a nice wide variety, you know, that you can either for a youth hunter that wants to grow, or, you know, a hunter like me that has a nice long draw length, it kind of caters to all. It also goes from, this is the first bow I've seen to go from 0 draw weight all the way out to 70. So I can imagine that these screws that are into this riser are probably, you know, 2 inches, 2.5 inches that go deep down in there. It has an IBO of 315. It comes in camo and black. One of the things that caught my eye was this riser, a nice cool design. It's really sleek, it's aluminum, it's well put together. You know, the cams and mods are made of 661 aluminum, so the thing is nice and sturdy. It does have some budget accessories, hardware, like the cable guard, the string stop. The limb pockets, I wish there was something that kind of prevented them from moving laterally. Anything helps, you know, sometimes they notch out a hole, sometimes they make it a wedge shape, but I think the limb pockets are also aluminum. So the thing seems to be nice, nicely constructed, nice durable bow. You know, you have BCY cables and strings that were imported from the United States. The limbs were also made by Gordon, which is in the United States, that are shipped out. So I think they're constructed in China, but there's a lot of different things on them that are American made. The cams kind of remind me of a mission cam, real circular shape. You have that module on there that just goes, there's so many holes on it, you know, to get all of those draw lengths. But one thing that I do like, that this split yoke anchors on the outside of those limbs. So I think this thing might hold okay. I'm all the way at the end of this draw length. So we'll see. Let's do a little bit of, or let's do that single shot assessment here inside. And then we'll go outside and we'll shoot it a whole bunch. I think if you go online, I don't think you can actually buy this bow, TideWe, on their website. It's more of just gear. They got blinds, they have boots, they have a ton of heated things. They got heated vest, heated seat pads, heated jackets, and everything is extremely well priced. And we'll actually do a review on some of the stuff on their website later. But right now, we started with the TideWe bow. Right off of the bat, I would say, you know, the grips, for some reason, on a kind of an online budget style bow, the grips are always, I felt like, just as cheap as you can get. You got these little plastic pieces that are on the side, and if you just press on them, they're already starting to pop off. It's like, I feel like they could just put a little bit more attention to some of that kind of stuff when making these bows, just so they don't fall apart on you. I think if this thing got moisture or weather under these little stickers, those things would just pop right off. And I think there's just holes through that riser. But let's go ahead, let's sling a couple. Oh, that's kind of crazy. So I'm always anticipating something different than what I get when I pull back, you know, a bow for the first time. But that draw is really linear, you know. So from the beginning to the end, there's not much of a valley, anything. It's just kind of a nice, easy pull back. It kind of lets off at the end. Very effortless for a 70-pound bow. Something else is the bubble kind of levels itself out for you. It seems to hold, you know, again, all that kind of changes as we step outside and shoot a bunch, but it seems to hold pretty sturdy for a nice compact bow. It says 315 on the IBO, which I'm kind of excited to put this thing through the chronograph, because that's kind of where you really sacrifice with buying these online bows. You know, even the Trigon, it was a good quality bow. You know, it's like you just really sacrifice on that feet per second, but we'll see how much. But it's kind of tough at the beginning, but then it just kind of flows right back. I mean, you have to be able to see that on camera. There's almost no valley. It holds nice. I think all dressed up, it was 5 pounds exactly. So with everything that comes on it, just like this, right at 5 pounds. So it kind of has a nice little bit of substance to it, which I think helps with that hold. The draw cycle is nice, surprisingly really nice. I mean, halfway through it, effortless is what comes to mind. It does want to torque a little bit on you, but not bad. Cool, I'm excited to shoot this. Let's get after this freestyle shoot. We'll shoot this a whole bunch today. You know, we got tons of 3D targets back here. We have a couple over here, bore at 30 bucks at 35, kind of elevated. And then you have the gazebo all the way from 20 all the way out to 50, several different targets. We will get after the whole thing. And on a bow like this, or any budget bow, anything less expensive, I'll shoot them 200 times. And if there's anything faulty or anything that starts to come undone, or you know, we'll just shoot it until it falls apart if it's going to. I don't think, you know, the first 5 shots, they're great. But man, by shot 200, if something's gonna go wrong, we'll be able to see. So, 2 other things I forgot to mention. It does come with a release. It has that nylon strap release. It's not my favorite. I'm not gonna knock it too hard. If it's what gets you into your backyard practicing, go for it. But if there is 2 things that you have a little bit of wiggle room to upgrade right from the beginning, I would do the rest and the release. Everything else seems to be, you know, pretty good for to kind of begin with. The other thing it comes with is an arrow puller, which I like those. I'm glad they included one of those. Those are always nice. But go ahead. We'll start here. We'll go we'll go bore at 30. And we'll get up to these bucks at 35. More and more I draw this thing, I mean, the draw cycle, like I said inside, what comes to mind is just linear. It's just smooth right from the beginning to the end. And it surprisingly has, from the shape of these cams, has a really nice hold too. The other bow that had this kind of similar shaped cam and module system is the Mission by Matthews. And man, it wanted to jump on you, where this is a little bit more comfortable in the back wall. Not too relaxed, but not too tense. Kind of nice right there in the middle. But the draw cycle on this, sometimes I feel like you guys should be able to tell from the camera, but it's smooth from the beginning to the end. It starts out a little tougher and then it just smooths out really, really nicely towards the end. Let's go to the other buck. But man, this hold, the hold's nice for a nice compact bow. I always like when those cables kind of anchor on the outside. I feel like it gives a little bit of, you know, a little bit more stability. You know, easier to get the timing right as well. Kind of just an easy system once you get it in that press to kind of pop those off, give them some twist. Like I said inside, I think this is one of the better bows you're going to be able to find on Amazon for the price. $285 out the door package deal, delivered to your door. You can't beat that. Let's go over there and we'll shoot some longer range shots. All right, so I always spend the majority of my time over here. We'll do a full ladder climb again. We'll start with that turkey at 20, work our way up in 5-yard increments all the way up to the elk at 50. And so it does have kind of that like vibration pop sound to it. You know, every time a bow does that, I take it inside, we'll retighten all the screws just to make sure nothing comes loose, or I forgot to tighten something, and nothing was. It's kind of all tightened down. It just has that kind of, I don't like to hear it, but it kind of like is a sound of vibration in the noise. You know, it's kind of a, you know, usually when that happens, there's something on the bow that's loose, but this, I tightened everything. I couldn't find anything. So that's kind of one of the first negatives I'm thinking, is just the sound of this thing is kind of harsh. Let's go coyote. Now we'll go to that buck, which is at 30. And something else, it's like I'm so surprised that more companies are not selling direct, and I'm going to stand by. I think that's where we're headed. I think they've held out as long as they could, but you have so many different manufacturers now making so many good bows that aren't getting the bow shop deals. eventually they're just going to have to start selling direct, like APA, like Athens, where you can just kind of get online, just, you know, create your bow and then order it and it comes to your door. You know, the only companies that benefits by, you know, having kind of finding a dealer are the ones that are getting put in the bow shop, the top 5. And even then, there's a huge void of being able to order online because not everybody lives close to a bow shop. Not everybody has access to one, not just in this country, but other countries. And you know, as we all know, the internet's kind of just, that's what we're all going to. You know, it's unfortunate for the small mom and pop bow shop. It really is, but that's the direction we're heading. So I wouldn't be surprised if more companies started realizing, hey, I'm just going to start selling directly to, you know, the consumer, kind of cut out that middleman. I think they'll be able to offer us better prices, you know, and just make the whole process a little easier for us. Let me shoot one on this gray wolf and then I'll. You know, I think one of the arguments for the other side is like, if you're going to buy a bow, you should be able to go into a bow shop, or you should go into a bow shop. You should have someone help you. You should have someone help you set it up. You know, we don't want just a whole bunch of people buying bows and trying to set it up themselves and then putting themselves out in the woods. And like, I understand that point of, you know, especially beginners, you know, you kind of need some of that advice, help, and mentorship that a bow shop is going to provide for you. But man, I feel like we're headed in the other way. I feel like I feel like it's unfortunate that it's like Chinese companies are the ones realizing like, hey, there's a ton of people that want to order bows online and we're going to be the ones that are selling them. It's like, I wish an American company would realize that, put a good quality budget bow out there, and just sell them online direct. You know, not even Amazon, but just kind of right from their website. That would be nice. So, all right, now on to the black bear. This is one of my favorite targets of the yard at 40 yards. Shoot one more on that black bear. All right, now we'll set up for the full draw stall. Full draw stall on the little black bear. A bow like this, a little bit more compact. This is kind of the ones that we kind of want to wave around on you a little bit. And this is really going to, you know, exaggerate that. So as I get more fatigued, it'll want to move around. Something that is a little bit stable at the beginning, sometimes that'll all go away after a minute. So we got 1 minute hold, and then we'll put a shot on that little black bear. So yeah, I mean, it's the whole time it wants to move around on you, you know, so you're kind of from the very beginning, and the whole time I'm in a full draw stall, I'm trying to keep it as stable as possible, and then obviously nice big breath towards the end, try to let one go, but you know, it got worse and worse and worse as the minute carried on. All right, so the elk's at 50. We'll put a whole bunch on that guy today. I think overall, you know, a little bit of vibration in your hand. The noise is, you know, not good. Didn't like the rest that came with it or the release. Other than that, for 280 bucks, I feel like you just can't beat it online right now. The Trigon was close. I would say this tops that Trigon by a little bit, just kind of all around. You know, I think eventually we'll see more and more. But I think for a, you know, non-American made bow that you can get delivered to your door, this is it. I mean, this is a good one for sure. Let's go 50. The arrows come off here pretty good. It's not the cleanest shot cycle, obviously. I think you can just kind of tell that by the sound. But the hold is surprisingly really, really nice. You know, for a $280 Amazon bow. And again, when I say, somebody like, well, he says every bow is really nice. It's like, I'm factoring in what it is. You know, it's like, for this bow at this cost, Juan, move. I'd say it holds nice. I wouldn't be hesitant at all to fling an arrow in the field with this. You know, up to 40 yards. It's just. And as I've said before, if I was to practice, so, you know, my 3 shots on that elk, these 3 first shots, you know, we'll circle back later and do the 3 shots at the end of the day. I mean, the improvement just in one day is kind of crazy that I can see from doing bow to bow to bow. It's like these first shots, a little wobbly at 50, but as the day progressed, I'll dial that in. And as you practice with something, if this was the bow that you choose, you know, you put a good amount of effort into it. I don't see this having any issues. You know, and again, we'll see. We'll put a whole bunch through it. So before I say that, you know, we'll shoot it all day, and then we'll kind of circle back to the durability and quality factor. But I think for performance, you're paying for what you get, but it's nice. 300 spine, 400 spine, and we'll do this Tidewe spaghetti noodle that's 560 grains. So we'll start off with the arrow that'll go towards the grading. We got a 300 spine, 500 grain full metal jacket. We got 30 inches. 30 inches on the draw at 70 pounds. 315 on the IBO. That's 276. So that's awesome. My hope is that this arrow will kind of stay right in there in the mid 270s, and it'll get that 7 out of 10. 281, that's awesome. This might climb a little, who knows? But we'll shoot a couple. We'll shoot a little bit more with this one than we do the other ones, because we'll take the average and this will kind of go towards the grading, but we'll shoot it maybe 4 or 5 times, depending on where it sits. So 278. Since we're kind of teetering that line, we'll shoot it 5 times and take the average. 276. Last one, and then we'll shoot that 400 grain, I think, or 440 grain, 400 spine full metal jacket, and then we'll shoot the arrows that come with the package. So 271. So we'll go 7 out of 10 for the speed grade. A little bit lighter grain arrow. And I even kind of showed you earlier the flimsiness of the Tidewe arrow that comes with it, and then even just the 400 spine. I mean, it's a significantly stiffer arrow. That's 292. I'll shoot it one more time. .293. Okay, so that's a great speed on that lighter hunting arrow. Awesome speed. All right, so now let's go to this Tidewe arrow that came in the package. It has not been pre-cut. The fletchings are so low on the arrow that it barely fits, but it just does. I think it was 560 grains. You can see, watch the arrow. So 264 with that heavier grain. Look at this thing flop around here. So 263, you couldn't catch me shooting that arrow, but you know, with these package deals, that's what you get. Some of the stuff is good quality, or at least workable, and then some of it you're just like, I'm just gonna reinvest and kind of do a little upgrade right from the beginning. I first grabbed it, and then I called their customer service, and they said, hey, welcome to Tidewe. So it's Tidewe. Again, There's only so many options online, especially on Amazon. Very little options outside of Amazon where you can buy and order a bow online and have it shipped to your house. And I think out of the ones on Amazon, and again, these are just my personal assessments, this is one of my favorites for sure. This is a great quality bow for the price. And when you factor in where prices have gone in the past 5 years, it's kind of crazy. I mean, we're getting up into the $2,000s of dollars for a bow, which even 10 years ago, that was unheard of, you know? So, and I think around $1,000 was crazy. And so now we're doubling that. So for $285, I don't think you can beat this. And not just this, if you go on Tidewe's website, they have tons of other stuff that I think is very well priced for good quality. Heated vests, heated jackets, heated seats. They have a couple blinds, they have boots. They got a little variety of things, and I'm sure there'll be more and more and more as time goes on. But starting out as a company, I think they've kind of found a little niche for things that are on the more expensive side usually, and they have well priced them with good quality, and I think that's what they're going for. So the Instinct R2, 275, 276, 7 out of 10 for the speed, durability, and quality. You know, these are package deals, so I'm factoring in everything. I'm factoring in that release and that rest and those arrows. And so I gave it a 6 out of 10 on the quality. The bow itself is probably more around a 7 on a 10, but again, factoring in the other things that come in this package deal that you're paying for, it got a 6 out of 10 on quality. Appeal, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I do like the way this one looks. Most of the time on Amazon, if I'm flipping through those bows, I do not like the way they look. And again, I know that doesn't necessarily matter at all in the performance, but I know it factors into our buying process. And you know, to me, even just going through, this was one that caught my eye. In person, I even liked it even more. And so then you got technology. I gave it a 6 out of 10, very basic system. As we've seen though, more and more, you have companies, especially like Prime, that went from 4 cams to this inline. Now they're going back this year to just a really, really simple system. And I think we're gonna see more of that. We try to get creative and innovative, but then in the end, it's like what works and what's best is usually that simple system and kind of the most basic system that we saw in the beginning of compound bows. So we gave it a performance, and this kind of teetered. I gave it a 7 out of 10. Honestly, the more I shot this thing throughout the day, this very easily could have gotten 8 out of 10 factoring in the price. But I just wanted to kind of stick with just performance qualities. The whole, you know, wanted to kind of waver on you just a little bit. The draw is amazing. The back wall was really nice. Loud vibration, that's kind of stuff that we normally see in these kind of budget bows. But a 7 out of 10, I think, was a really good, accurate depiction of that performance. So 34 times it by 2, you got 68 out of 100. It does get to make up 3 for the price at $285, so 71, great score for this bow. I think this is one of the best ones that you can buy online and have shipped to your door. So if you get a chance, I think you can only buy the bow on Amazon, but if you check out Tidewe's website, they have other stuff that I think is really well priced and good quality made. So hopefully you found something in this bow review that was helpful to you in your bow buying process. Don't buy a bow off a single bow review. Make sure you get them in your hands. Amazon's the best. You can have it shipped to your door. Try it out. If you don't like it, they have the best return policy ever, which is pretty much just, you know, you can return anything and they'll take it back. So kind of give it a little test drive and see for yourself. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have tons of stuff already out and tons more to come. Follow us on Instagram to see what's going to come next. Make sure above all else you get your reps in on the daily. We'll see you next time.